Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero.
Hey guys, Guardian today. It's gonna be like the shortest guide of all the MK9 characters, but then I'm gonna show you guys a guide on Johnny Cage. So I watched the Coliseum thingy that happened like a week ago, where they did an MK9 throwback, and I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to get back into MK9 because this is, in my opinion, the best Mortal Kombat game of all time, and at least NRS wise. And I was like, okay, well, I want to play, I want to try again, and let's fucking make some guides, on some characters, because I know how to play a lot of the characters in this game, so like might as well try to play some of them, if you want to try to get into this game, then these guys should be, at least I hope, really helpful into like learning these characters. So yeah, let's just get into it. So Johnny Cage was probably one of the easier, strongest characters in the game. He was around 5th, 6th, or 7th in the game. He was right, so the top tiers, there was 4 top tiers in this game, and then he was in the range right outside of top tier. And it was heavily contested between him, Freddy, and Kung Lao, who the 5th best character in the game was. But that was the 5 to 7 range, was those 3 characters. In my opinion, Johnny was actually the worst of those 3, but that's just heavily up for debate. Johnny has this normal 4-3. This is the best normal in the game. It does a nice 1% chip, but it's also neutral on block. Now, what makes this move so broken is, well, 2 things really. So, the most broken one was definitely the random player advantage thing, or random plus advantage, whatever it's called. Basically, when something is neutral on block, it has a chance of being plus 10. You heard me, plus 10. So, this right here has a chance of being plus 10. But not only that, if you do 4-3-3, the second part of the string, is also neutral on block, and this is another 3% chip damage. So now you have 4% chip damage, and it's either neutral or plus 10. And then this is 4-3-3 back 3, 6% chip damage in total. This is also neutral on block, so this also has a chance to be plus 10. And then finally, there's the player 1 bug in this game, where basically whoever's player 1, say if Johnny pokes and Sub-Zero poke at the same time, after this neutral thing right here, player 1 gets priority as long as their pokes are the same startup. So because of this, player 1 actually had the advantage. If you were playing like a mirror match in this game, whoever was player 1 actually had the advantage, which is pretty funny. So yeah, whenever you're neutral, it had whoever's player 1 gets to poke out first. So yeah, the more important part is the random plus 10 though. That's really insane. So first you have this string has potential to be plus 10, and has 6% chip damage. Then you gotta factor in the EX force balls. These right here did a lot of block damage, 3% block damage, and it was plus 6. And since it left Cage right, okay, so it's like, say I did this, since I was right in front of him, I'm plus 6, and I have this 8-frame mid 4-3 that it should just usually just come out, and it just jails. So now there was one thing that you could counter, was you could crouch block the force balls. However, this was a little bit counterintuitive at times, because the last bit of the string, as you can see, is an overhead. The back 3 part of the 4-3-3 back 3 is an overhead, the last hit. So because of this, people would usually hold the force balls unless they're just kind of reading it. So yeah, usually they would block overhead against this string if they knew the whole string was coming out. Now, another thing you need to know is if you got opened up by this 4-3, this did 20% damage, right? So this didn't seem too absurd, right? Just 20% meterless, but then because this is so plus, I could literally jump over my this nut punch is so plus on hit. You can literally jump over the opponent, and then before they could and land before they could start moving. So because of this, what if you interrupt the middle of that jump with a jump punch? Well, now yeah, this is just guaranteed basically. So now you have this jump punch coming in, and now because this jump punch if you're familiar with MKX mechanics, jump punches in this game are plus like 24 or some shit in the on block. All of them are. So because of that, you could jail highs. So basically, this right here, this high string right here, even if they crouch block it, they would still have to hold it. Although sometimes if I like say I had him duck blocking right here, see how like this whiffs? This doesn't whiff if yeah, I'll just show you. This doesn't whiff after plus 24. Okay, that was a bad example, but I think you get the point. Even if he crouch blocked after the jump punch, uh, it would have still all connected. So after this whole string connects, he's plus 2. And remember, you are so plus 2 right in front of him with a 8 frame mid. You needed to have a 6 frame poke to challenge this. And even if you did have a 6 frame poke to like try to trade with it, remember player 1 advantage happens here. So if you're Johnny Cage and you are plus 2 here, even if you have a 6 frame poke, the 4-3 would still beat you, because 8 minus, okay, so 8 minus 2 is 6. So that means Johnny has a 6 frame gap between this and this, and that means you have 6 frames to poke. So even if you had a 6 frame poke, which by the way barely any characters in this game have 6 frame poke, you would still lose out to player 1 advantage. So this whole application, so I'll show you all of the damage. So if you got opened up by this is 20%, right? And then you're just gonna have to take my word for this. So this right here is yeah. Oops. So it was a 22% combo. Jump punch is 1%, right? This string right here, this string is 4%. Okay. So 1% jump punch, 5% string, or 4% string. Sorry, that's 5% total. So you were taking 27%. But then you have to hold this as well, which is another 6%. So that's 25 plus 6, 31%. So meaning that if you got opened up by this combo, you were taking 31%. So that's like 31% of the life bar gone for Sub-Zero. Yeah, that was absurd. And that's like only if they like did the full string. Like they could stagger and get like more percent. Or you could, and when the stagger pressure is coming out, you could get opened up, or he could repeat with these EX force balls and just loop it again. So this right here, this was 7%, and then he did it again, another 7%, up 6%. That's 20% from just block damage. The chip on Johnny Cage was crazy, and that's just his main string. That's just like one tool that he had, and that's like all the layers on top of it. Now we're gonna talk about his combos actually. So this right here, this combo was kind of hard to do, so people didn't do it consistently. Yeah, this right here was a little hard to do, 30%. This was much easier, and this is what people usually did. This was 24% consistent damage, right? And then remember, after the 24%, you have the nut punch, right? Where you go jump, up, 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 up. And that whole sequence, in case you didn't remember, was 11%. So now that combo was actually 35%. Now let's say you decided to jump onto Johnny Cage, okay? He had this anti-air right here. Oh. There we go. This, they did over 30%. And so remember, that's another 11% from block damage, right? So that's 42%. And that's only the guaranteed, or quote unquote guaranteed. You could armor after the +2 of this. But usually you want to use your meter on breakers in this game. The best characters in this, I'll tell you this right now, and I'll repeat this in every video after where I'm covering a strong character. The best characters in this game usually just use their meter on breaker, and they just had really good meterless damage. But some characters had really bullshit stuff that they could do with meter, like Smoke's EX Smoke Ball reset, or Cyrax's bomb combos, stuff like that. So but besides that, the best characters, including Johnny Cage, Johnny Cage is a great example of this, would just use their meter on breaker or force ball, and they wouldn't really do like wake up attacks. So you didn't really want to spend your bar on wake up attacks because getting opened up in this game was pretty fucking bad. Uh, Another thing to know is breakers were actually really good in this. Oh, let me get combo. So get breakers were so nice because please, can you please fucking combo me? Breakers in this game, see, see how he's knocked on the ground here, and now it's my turn to pressure him. See that? So breakers in this game actually gave you an advantage in this game, which was like also kind of nice. So that's why Johnny liked to breaker, because then he could break and then he could just run up and 4-3 like you saw me do to the CPU there. So yeah, that's another thing nice to know. Johnny also didn't also have like back 3 anti-air. He also had his standing 2 was also good. Standing 1 was also good. He had great. This character was really good at anti-airing. Okay, and he would always convert it into like good damage. So because of that, it was really scary to jump in on Johnny Cage. I'm telling you, really, really fucking scary. Now another thing to know about this string was that it ends in the overhead. See that? So something that was very common was this right here. You could like do 2-1 poke right here. This was actually like really fucking annoying. And then after they block the poke, you have to like deal with this stuff. Now, if you are familiar with pressure characters in future games, you might think, okay, why doesn't Johnny Cage grab? Like, if you watch Johnny Cage gameplay on P9, you're probably like, why didn't they grab often? It's usually because Johnny Cage's chip damage was so absurd that grabbing wasn't worth it. And when you grab an opponent with Johnny Cage, look at how far they are. You're back to neutral, and then Johnny. I'm not saying that Johnny's neutral is bad, but being in their face was just much preferable. So this was like one of those characters where, like, yes, you could grabbing was super free against people, but you still didn't want it still was low-key like not worth it when you could like just keep stagger pressuring just to open them up, and you had all this chip damage and like the EX Force Ball reset and stuff like that. Now in terms of corner damage, this character was crazy good as well. Like this is like I don't how many standing 2s did I do? I think I did 5. I think 5 is how you're supposed to do. This did 40%. He could do even a little bit more as well, like maybe 41, 42. That was just like a slightly unoptimal combo, but it's very easy. Which is just fucking crazy. And when you're in the corner against Johnny, remember, you don't have any space, right? So he could harass you with these, with this, and then boom, you see this whole string hits, and then he could 4-3 again, and you don't have like, because you can't get pushed back any further, right? Because you're in the corner. So because of this, Johnny was still close to you after this whole string connected on you blocking, and then he could just 4-3 again, which was like another thing absurd. And he could dash up, he could read you like jumping or something, and then he could back up and back 3 your jump. That's like, this is something Johnny players would do very often. Still do this, still block up. Oh, you jumped, back 3. Because they're already walking back and buffering the input, you know, they just have to press 3 when you're jumping in on them. So yeah, that was like something very common. Johnny Cage was just, yeah, his pressure got even more absurd in the corner just because of this. Because you couldn't back up after, you couldn't back, like mid-screen, if this happened, right? You see how far Sub-Zero gets backed up by the overhead part? Now I can't like repeat it. But yeah, as you can see, you could just repeat it over and over in the corner, which was fucking absurd. Because when this landed on your block, you gotta remember, you're like, oh shit, he might be plus 10. This might just be guaranteed again. And it was like super fucked up because you couldn't tell, because the random advantage glitch was, you know, random. It was RNG. You couldn't tell if it was gonna happen or not. So that was just really like, it was just really messed up. Yeah, so all of this combined made Johnny one of the best characters in the game. I think he was definitely like the 7th best character at minimum, and he pretty much was a pressure machine that you could never wake up attack on, because this right here always restood you, and you know if you're gonna get restood, fuck man. If you're gonna get restood, how are you gonna like wake up attack? Exactly. So you could never wake up on him. He was randomly plus off this string. It did insane shit damage. He could make it plus on block, and his damage was still very good. So combining all this together, Johnny Cage was one of the best characters in the game, like I said. And that's pretty much the no bullshit guide that you need to know about Johnny. He was very simple. Like, his combos are very easy to know. Like every anti-air, you could just do 3 standing 2s into 4-4 nut punch, and then in the corner you can just do 1 2 3 4 5 bup 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 1 1 4 nut punch, stuff like that. And yeah, if you ever connect 4-3, just end into nut punch, and remember the frame trap I told you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Johnny was very easy. Feel free to pick up this guy. This is probably my go-to character actually. If you want to pick up the game and learn the fundamentals and get the basics down, this is him. This is the character you want to play. So yeah, I think that's all I need to cover. Hope you guys enjoy. Just gonna sign out. Peace.